Admiral Yusuf Okonkwo stood alone in the observation deck of Earth's orbital command station. The old soldier watched the blue planet spin slowly below him. He had served humanity for 40 years. He had seen wars end and peace begin. He thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. The communication officer had woken him at 3 in the morning. "There was a message," she said. "Not from any human ship. Not from any human colony. The message came from deep space, from a place humanity had never reached." Okonkwo read the message 7 times. Each time, his confusion grew deeper. Each time, his worry grew stronger. The message was from something called the Galactic Council. 4,000 alien species. Civilizations that had existed for millions of years. They had been watching Earth. They had been watching humanity. And they had never said a single word. Until now. The Admiral pressed a button on his communication device. "Get me, Captain Sarah Chen. Tell her to come to my quarters immediately. Tell her it is urgent." 20 minutes later, Captain Chen walked through the door. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and short black hair. She had commanded the ESS Defiance for 3 years. She was one of the best officers Okonkwo had ever known. "Admiral," she said, standing at attention. "You wanted to see me?" Okonkwo pointed to a chair. "Sit down, Captain, and read this." He handed her a tablet. Chen took it and began to read. Her face changed as she went through the words. First, there was surprise. Then confusion. Then something that looked like fear. "Sir," she said slowly, "is this real?" "Our analysts have confirmed it," Okonkwo replied. "The transmission is genuine. It comes from approximately 12,000 light-years away. It uses a communication technology we have never seen before." Chen looked at the message again. She read it out loud, her voice quiet. "To the leaders of Earth. We are the Galactic Council. We represent 4,000 species across this galaxy. We have watched your world for a very long time. We have never made contact because we believed you were not ready. We still believe this. But we must speak now because we have no choice. There is a war. The Vorthax Dominion is destroying us. They have taken 17 star systems. Millions have died. We are losing. But we do not write to ask for your help. We write to beg you. Please, do not get involved. Do not enter this war. Stay on your world. Stay in your system. Do not come. We are begging you. Please, do not come." Chen put down the tablet. She looked at the Admiral with questions in her eyes. "They are losing a war," she said. "They are dying. And they are asking us to stay away. Thanks for watching." "The war exactly," 40 said. "Yes," Okonkwo said. "That makes no sense, sir." "No, it does not." Chen stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the stars. Somewhere, out there, a war was happening. Species were dying. And the survivors did not want humanity's help. "There are only 2 possibilities," Chen said. "Either they think we are too weak to help them, or they are afraid of us," Okonkwo finished. Chen turned around. "Sir, how could they be afraid of us? We have never met them. We have never threatened them. We do not even have the technology to reach them." "Not yet," Okonkwo said. "But think about what they said. They have been watching us for a very long time. They know our history, Captain. They know what we have done to each other." Chen was silent. She understood what the Admiral meant. Human history was not a peaceful story. It was filled with wars and violence. Empires rose and fell. Nations fought and destroyed each other. Even in times of peace, humans competed and struggled and pushed. "They think we are dangerous," Chen said. "More than dangerous," Okonkwo replied. "They are terrified. Read the message again. Listen to the words they use. They are not asking. They are pleading. They are begging. These are species that have existed for millions of years. They have technology we cannot imagine. And they are afraid of us. Chen felt a cold feeling in her chest. She had always thought that if humanity met aliens, they would be friendly. They would share knowledge and culture. They would learn from each other. She had never imagined that the aliens would be scared. "What do we do, sir?" she asked. Okonkwo was quiet for a long moment. His old face was tired. His eyes were heavy with thought. "For now, we watch," he said. "I want you to gather all the information you can about this Galactic Council. Find out who they are. Find out what they know about us. Find out why they are so afraid." "And the war?" Chen asked. "The Vorthax? We watch that too. But we do not act." Chen nodded. She picked up the tablet and walked toward the door. "Admiral," she said, "what if they are right to be afraid?" Okonkwo did not answer for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. "I have been a soldier for 40 years, Captain. I have seen what humans can do when they are pushed. If the galaxy has been watching us all this time, then yes, maybe they are right to be afraid." Chen left the room without another word. Okonkwo turned back to the window. The stars looked different now. They were not just lights in the darkness. They were civilizations. Billions of aliens living their lives, fighting their wars, and watching Earth with fear in their hearts. For 200 years, humanity had wondered if they were alone in the universe. They had sent signals into space. They had searched for signs of life. They had hoped and dreamed of first contact. Now they knew the truth. The galaxy was full of life, and the galaxy had been hiding from them. Okonkwo closed his eyes. He was an old man. He had hoped to retire in peace. He had hoped to watch the stars without worry. But the universe had other plans. Somewhere out there, a war was burning. Species were dying, and someone had made the mistake of telling Earth about it. The Admiral knew, deep in his heart, that this was only the beginning. The message was a warning, a plea, a desperate cry from a galaxy that knew what was coming. Because sooner or later, humanity would get involved. Sooner or later, humans would reach the stars. And when they did, nothing would ever be the same. Captain Sarah Chen had not slept in 3 days. Her eyes were red and tired. Her body wanted rest. But her mind would not stop working. The Admiral had given her a mission. Find out why the galaxy feared humanity. Find out what they knew. Find out what they had seen. Chen had started with the old files. Deep space probes that humanity had sent out decades ago. Some of them had disappeared. Others had sent back strange signals before going silent. At the time, scientists thought they had simply broken down. Now Chen understood. The probes had been taken, studied, and destroyed. But the aliens had not destroyed all of them. Some probes had returned data before they vanished. Strange energy readings, unusual signals, and something else. Something that made Chen's blood run cold. Images. One probe, sent toward the edge of the solar system 30 years ago, had captured images of a ship. It was not a human ship. It was massive and elegant, shaped like a teardrop made of silver light. It had been watching Earth, watching and waiting. Chen downloaded everything she could find. She worked through mountains of data, old signals, forgotten files, secret reports that had been buried for years. Then she found the fragment. It was a piece of alien data, captured by a military satellite 15 years ago. The satellite had been destroyed moments after recording it. Everyone thought it was an accident. Chen now knew it was not. The fragment was a report. A report about Earth. A report written by the Galactic Council. Chen called Admiral Okonkwo immediately. The Admiral arrived in her office within the hour. He looked tired too. Neither of them had been sleeping well since the message arrived. "What did you find?" he asked. Chen pointed to her screen. "They have been watching us for over 10,000 years, sir. They have records of everything. Every war. Every empire. Every moment of human history. Okonkwo sat down heavily. Show me. Chen began reading from the translated document. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. Species designation. Human. Origin. Third planet of Sol system. Classification. Deathworld species. Threat level. Extreme. Deathworld? Okonkwo interrupted. Earth, sir. Earth is a death world. A planet so dangerous that life should not survive there. The gravity is too strong. The weather is too violent. The predators are too deadly. And yet humans not only survived, they became the dominant species. Okonkwo said nothing. Chen continued. The report talks about our history. They watched us develop. They watched us make fire. They watched us build cities. And they watched us kill each other. She scrolled through the document. They have detailed records of every major war. The Mongol Empire. The Roman conquests. The World Wars. They calculated the death toll. They analyzed our weapons. And they were horrified. Horrified? Okonkwo asked. Other species fight wars, sir. But their wars are limited. They follow rules. They stop when the cost becomes too high. But humans, we do not stop. We fight until there is nothing left. We burn cities. We destroy entire populations. And then we rebuild. And do it again. And one. And we nothing. We burn. And we burn. And do it again. Chen pulled up another section of the report. But that is not what scares them most. What scares them is how fast we evolve. What do you mean? Look at this data. Chen pointed to a chart. Most species take millions of years to develop technology. They move slowly, carefully. They build peaceful civilizations over vast periods of time. Humans went from horses to nuclear weapons in less than a century. We went from our first airplane to landing on the moon in 66 years. Quote, Okonkwo stared at the numbers. The speed of human progress, seen through alien eyes, was terrifying. They ran simulations, Chen continued. They predicted what would happen if humans entered the galactic community. In every simulation, the result was the same. Within 100 years, humans would control a quarter of the galaxy. Within 200 years, we would control half. Within 300 years, 3. Within 300 years, we would control everything, Okonkwo whispered. Yes, sir. They believe that once we start expanding, we will not stop. We will take. We will conquer. We will dominate. Because that is what we have always done. The Admiral stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the stars. The same stars that alien eyes had watched for 10,000 years. They are not afraid of what we might do to them, he said slowly. They are afraid of what we will become. Yes, Chen said. The report recommends complete isolation. No contact with Earth. No trade. No communication. They want to keep us contained. They want to keep us small. But now they have a war, Okonkwo said. A war they are losing. The Vorthax Dominion. The report mentions them too. They are conquerors. They take planets. They enslave species. They are brutal and powerful. But they are normal. They fight like every other species in the galaxy. They follow patterns. They have limits. The Council knows how to fight them, even if they are losing. Chen paused. She looked at the Admiral with something like sadness in her eyes. We do not have limits, sir. That is what the report says. Humans do not have limits. We will do whatever it takes to win. We will sacrifice everything. We will become anything. And that is why they would rather lose to the Vorthax than ask for our help. Okonkwo was silent for a long moment. He thought about his own life. The wars he had fought. The things he had done to survive. He thought about human history. The suffering. the destruction, the endless cycle of violence. And he thought about the future. A future where humanity reached the stars. A future where other species looked at humans and saw monsters. "What do we do now?" he asked. Chen shook her head. "I do not know, sir. But I think we need to ask ourselves a question. The galaxy sees us as a threat. They see us as destroyers. Are they wrong?" Okonkwo did not answer. Because deep in his heart, he was not sure. The stars continued to shine. The galaxy continued to turn. And somewhere in the darkness, a war was burning. A war that would soon come knocking on humanity's door. The attack came without warning. The mining colony on Titan's Ridge was small. 200 people living in metal buildings on a frozen moon. They were miners and engineers. Families and workers. Simple people, doing simple jobs. They never saw the Vorthax ships coming. Admiral Okonkwo received the distress signal at exactly 4 a.m. By the time rescue ships arrived, it was too late. The colony was burning. Bodies lay frozen in the thin atmosphere. Men, women, and children. The Vorthax had come and gone in less than an hour. They left no survivors. They left no message. They left only death. Okonkwo stood in the command center, watching the rescue footage. His face was stone. His hands were fists at his sides. Around him, officers worked in terrible silence. Captain Chen arrived moments later. She saw the images on the main screen. She saw the bodies. She saw the burning buildings. "How many?" she asked quietly. 217, Okonkwo replied. His voice was flat, empty. Every single person, gone. Chen felt anger rising in her chest. Real anger. The kind that burned hot and did not fade. "Why would they do this?" she asked. "We have never threatened them. We have never even met them." Okonkwo turned to face her. His old eyes were cold. "They intercepted the Council's message to us. They know the galaxy is afraid of humanity. They wanted to test us. To see what we would do. To test us? The Vorthax are conquerors. They have never met a species they could not break. They look at Earth and see another target. They killed our people to send a message. They think we are weak. They think we will do nothing." Chen looked at the burning colony on the screen. 217 people, families, children, gone in 1 hour. "They made a mistake," she said. Okonkwo nodded slowly. "Yes, they did." 2. The Admiral walked to the main console. He pressed a button and spoke clearly. "This is Admiral Okonkwo. All senior officers to the command center. Immediately." Within 30 minutes, the room was full. Generals and admirals. Scientists and strategists. The best minds humanity had to offer. Okonkwo stood before them all. "You have all seen the footage," he said. "You know what happened. The Vorthax Dominion has attacked our people. They have murdered our citizens. They have declared war on humanity without saying a single word." The room was silent. Every face was hard with anger. "I am ordering a reconnaissance mission," Okonkwo continued. "Captain Chen will take the ESS Defiance to the edge of Council space. She will observe the war. She will gather intelligence. She will not engage unless attacked." Chen stepped forward. "Understood, sir. But understand this," Okonkwo said, his voice growing harder. "This is not just reconnaissance. This is a message. The Vorthax think they can strike us without consequence. They think the galaxy is right to hide from us. They think we are animals, to be tested and measured." He paused. His eyes swept across the room. "We will show them what kind of animals we are." 2 days later, the ESS Defiance launched. Captain Chen stood on the bridge, watching Earth grow smaller in the rear cameras. She had commanded this ship for 3 years. She knew every system, every weapon, every strength and weakness, but she had never taken it to war. The journey took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of silent travel through empty space. 3 weeks of preparation and planning. 3 weeks of thinking about 217 dead colonists. When the Defiance finally reached Council space, Chen understood why the galaxy was afraid. The war was everywhere. Entire planets were burning. Space was filled with wreckage and bodies. Refugee ships drifted without power, carrying thousands of aliens fleeing their destroyed homes. The Vorthax had swept through like a storm, leaving nothing but destruction behind. Chen ordered her crew to stay hidden. They watched from the shadows, recording everything they saw. The Vorthax were massive creatures, tall and armored, with 4 arms and skin like black stone. Their ships were brutal machines, built for destruction and nothing else. They did not negotiate. They did not accept surrender. They simply killed. But what disturbed Chen most was not the Vorthax. It was the Council. She intercepted their communications. Thousands of messages flying between allied species. And in those messages, she heard something that made her blood freeze. They were talking about Earth. "The human ship has been detected," one message said. "It is observing from Sector 7. Do not engage," came the response. "Do not provoke them. If the humans get involved, we lose control of everything. But they could help us win. Winning does not matter if we unleash something worse than the Vorthax. You have read the reports. You know what humans are capable of. The Vorthax will conquer us. The humans will consume us. At least with the Vorthax, we survive as slaves. With humans, we may not survive at all." Chen sat back in her chair. Her heart was pounding. The galaxy was dying. Species were being slaughtered. And the survivors would rather face extinction than ask humanity for help. She recorded everything. Every battle. Every communication. Every desperate plea from dying ships. And then she found something else. A communication from the Council leadership. A top-secret message that was never meant to be seen. The Europa attack must be contained. Earth's population cannot know the full details. If humans learn that the Vorthax killed their children, if they see the images, they will come. And they will not stop until every Vorthax is dead. And then, they will not stop. They will keep going. They will take everything. We must hide the truth. We must keep Earth blind. Chen stared at the message. The Council was trying to hide the attack on Titan's Ridge. They were trying to keep humanity in the dark. They were so afraid of what humans would do that they would rather let their own people die than wake the sleeping giant. She thought about those 217 colonists, families, children, murdered in their homes. And she thought about what would happen when humanity learned the full truth. Captain Chen ordered the Defiance to turn around. They had seen enough. It was time to go home. It was time to tell Admiral Okonkwo what she had found. And it was time for humanity to make a choice. The ESS Defiance returned to Earth on a cold December morning. Captain Chen had not slept during the entire journey home. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw burning planets and dying refugees. She saw the faces of the 217 colonists. She saw children frozen in the darkness of space. Admiral Okonkwo was waiting for her when she arrived at command. He looked older than before. The weight of the past weeks had pressed down on him like a mountain. "Report," he said simply. Chen told him everything. The destruction she had witnessed. The Vorthax brutality. The Council communications. And the secret message about hiding the truth from Earth. When she finished, Okonkwo was silent for a long time. He stood by the window, looking out at the planet below. Earth. Home. The only world humanity had ever known. "They are afraid of us," he said finally. "So afraid that they would rather die than ask for our help." "Yes, sir." "And the Vorthax? They attacked our people to see if we were weak?" "Yes, sir. They believe they can conquer us. They believe we are just another species to be crushed." Okonkwo turned around. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with something dark and cold. They are both wrong, he said. The Council thinks we are monsters. The Vorthax think we are prey. Neither of them understand what we truly are. He walked to his desk and pressed a button. Connect me to the World Council. Emergency session. Tell them it concerns the survival of humanity. 3 hours later, the most powerful leaders on Earth gathered in a virtual meeting. Presidents and prime ministers, generals and scientists. Every nation, every power, united for the first time in decades. Admiral Okonkwo stood before them all. Captain Chen stood beside him. Ladies and gentlemen, Okonkwo began, you have all been briefed on the situation. An alien empire called the Vorthax has attacked our colony. 217 citizens are dead. At the same time, a coalition of 4,000 species called the Galactic Council has begged us not to get involved in their war. He paused, letting the words sink in. We now face a choice. We can stay home. We can pretend this never happened. We can let the galaxy burn while we hide on our small planet. Or we can respond. We can respond. We can respond. A voice spoke from the screen. The President of the European Federation. Admiral, what exactly are you proposing? I am proposing that we enter this war, Okonkwo said. Not to save the Council, not to be heroes, but because the Vorthax attacked our people, because they think they can murder our citizens without consequence. Because if we do nothing, they will come back. And next time, it will not be a small colony. It will be Earth. The room erupted in debate. Some leaders wanted revenge, others wanted caution. Some spoke of the risks, others spoke of honor. Through it all, Captain Chen remained silent. She watched the arguments fly back and forth. She listened to the fears and the hopes, and she waited. Finally, the room grew quiet. All eyes turned to Admiral Okonkwo. There is something else you need to understand, he said. His voice was soft now, almost sad. The galaxy has been watching us for 10,000 years. They have seen our history. They know what we are capable of. And they are terrified. He looked at each leader in turn. If we enter this war, we will not be fighting alone. We will be fighting with the weight of human history on our shoulders. Every war we have ever waged, every atrocity we have ever committed, every victory we have ever won through blood and fire. The galaxy expects us to become conquerors. They expect us to become monsters. Then perhaps we should stay home, someone said. Perhaps we should prove them wrong. Okonkwo shook his head. We cannot prove them wrong by hiding. We cannot show our true nature by doing nothing. The only way to show the galaxy who we are is to act, to fight, and to choose what kind of warriors we will be. 2. He stood straight and tall. His voice grew stronger. I have been a soldier for 40 years. I have seen the worst of humanity. I have also seen the best. We are not just killers and conquerors. We are also builders and dreamers. We fight hard because we love hard. We destroy because we also create. The galaxy fears our darkness. But they have never seen our light. The room was silent. Every leader listened. We will enter this war, Okonkwo said. We will stop the Vorthax, and we will show the galaxy that humanity is not their nightmare. We are their hope. Number 1. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would fight. That night, Admiral Okonkwo sat alone in his office. Captain Chen stood in the doorway, waiting. Are you ready? She asked. Okonkwo nodded slowly. As ready as I will ever be. He pressed a button. A communication channel opened. A connection to the Galactic Council, to the 4,000 species that had begged humanity to stay away. This is Admiral Yusuf Okonkwo of the United Earth Space Command, he said. His voice was steady and clear. I am speaking to the Galactic Council. You sent us a message asking us not to get involved in your war. We received your request. We understand your fears. He paused. The silence stretched across 12,000 light years. But you should understand something. The Vorthax attacked our people. They killed our citizens. They murdered our children. You asked us to stay home. But they made that choice for us. We are now involved. This is not a request for permission. This is a notification. Okonkwo leaned forward. His voice dropped lower. Prepare your forces to work with ours. Share your intelligence. Coordinate your fleets. We are coming. And together, we will end this war. Or you can stay out of our way. The choice is yours. But we are coming either way. He ended the transmission. Chen watched him from the doorway. How do you think they will respond? Okonkwo looked at her with tired eyes. With terror. With despair. They begged us to stay away. We are doing exactly what they feared. Are we doing the right thing? The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. I do not know if it is right. I only know it is necessary. The Vorthax will not stop. If we do not fight them now, we will fight them later. And by then, it may be too late. He stood up and walked to the window. The stars were waiting. The galaxy fears what we might become, he said. Now it is time to show them what we choose to be. Captain Chen nodded. She turned and walked away. Humanity was going to war, and the galaxy would never be the same. The human fleet was small, 13 ships against an empire that had conquered hundreds of worlds. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiance, watching the stars ahead. Somewhere in that darkness, the Vorthax were waiting. The Council had not responded to Admiral Okonkwo's message. They had simply gone silent. Whether from fear or hope, Chen did not know. Perhaps both. It had taken 2 months to reach Vorthax space. 2 months of preparation. 2 months of training. 2 months of quiet determination. Now the moment had arrived. Captain, her first officer said, we are detecting Vorthax ships, approximately 600 vessels. 600 against 13. Chen did the math in her head. The odds were impossible. Any sane commander would retreat, but humans were not always sane. All ships, Chen said into her communicator. This is Captain Chen. The enemy outnumbers us 50 to 1. They have conquered species that have existed for millions of years. They believe they cannot be stopped. She paused. Around her, officers worked at their stations. Weapons were ready. Engines were hot. Every human on every ship was prepared to fight. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Not because we want war, not because we enjoy destruction, but because our people were killed, because innocent lives were taken, because there are some things worth fighting for. Chen looked at the stars, at the distant lights of Vorthax ships, for Earth, for our fallen, for the future. The battle began. The Vorthax expected easy prey. They had fought hundreds of species. They knew how aliens reacted to their overwhelming numbers. Other species retreated. Other species surrendered. Other species broke and ran. Humans did none of these things. The ESS Defiance led the charge straight into the heart of the Vorthax fleet. It was a move no sane species would attempt. Suicide. The Vorthax commanders thought. Madness. But there was method in the madness. Human ships were smaller and faster than Vorthax vessels. They moved in patterns that seemed random but were carefully planned. They targeted weak points with perfect precision. They used tactics that no species in the galaxy had ever seen. Because humans had been fighting wars for 10,000 years. They had perfected the art of destruction. They knew how to kill. Chen watched the battle unfold on her screens. Human ships darted between massive Vorthax cruisers, firing at engines and weapons systems. Explosions bloomed in the darkness of space. Vorthax ships began to burn. Direct hit on their flagship's weapons array, an officer reported. Their main guns are offline. Good, Chen said. Target their engines next. I want that ship dead in space. The battle raged for hours. Human ships took damage. Some were destroyed. Good people died. But for every human ship that fell, 10 Vorthax vessels were destroyed. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Humans fought with a ferocity that defied logic. When their weapons failed, they rammed their ships into enemy hulls. When their engines died, they overloaded their reactors and took enemy ships with them. When they were outnumbered and outgunned, they simply refused to accept defeat. Admiral Okonkwo watched the battle from Earth. He sat in the command center, surrounded by officers and analysts, watching the footage in real time. His old face showed no emotion, but inside, his heart was breaking. He saw human ships explode. He saw good officers die. He saw the cost of war written in fire and blood across the stars. But he also saw something else. He saw the Vorthax fleet falling apart. He saw their formations breaking. He saw their confidence shatter. The Vorthax had never lost a major battle. They had never faced an enemy that would not break. They had never fought humans. 9 hours after the battle began, it was over. The Vorthax flagship drifted in space, burning and broken. Around it, the wreckage of 400 ships floated in the darkness. Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the damaged Defiance. Her uniform was torn. Her face was cut. But she was alive. And she had won. Casualties? She asked. Quietly. 4 ships lost, her first officer replied. 823 dead. Chen closed her eyes. 823 good people. Sons and daughters. Brothers and sisters. Gone forever. But they had not died for nothing. The Vorthax dominion had been broken. Their myth of invincibility had been shattered. A communication signal came through. Chen looked at her officer. It is from the Galactic Council, the officer said. Chen opened the channel. A voice spoke. It was trembling, afraid. But there was something else in it too. Something like awe. Captain Chen, this is the Galactic Council. We have been watching the battle. We have seen what your people have done. We do not have words. In 10,000 years of recorded history, we have never seen anything like this. Chen said nothing. She waited. We must ask. How? How did you do this? How did so few ships defeat so many? Chen thought about the question. She thought about her crew. She thought about the people who had died. She thought about human history. All the wars. All the suffering. All the lessons learned in blood. We have been fighting since the day we were born, she said simply. Fighting to survive. Fighting to grow. Fighting to protect what we love. The Vorthax made the mistake of threatening our home. They made the mistake of killing our people. And they made the mistake of thinking we would break. She paused. Humans do not break. We bend. We adapt. We suffer. But we do not break. That is what you never understood. That is what the Vorthax never understood. We are not monsters. We are not prey. We are survivors. And we will do whatever it takes to protect our own. The council was silent. Then, finally, the voice spoke again. Captain Chen. The war is not over. The Vorthax still control many systems. They will regroup. They will attack again. Then we will stop them again, Chen said. As many times as it takes. But when it is over, when the Vorthax are defeated, what will humanity do then? Will you continue to expand? Will you conquer the galaxy? As our predictions said, Chen looked out the window. At the stars. At the wreckage of the battle. At the infinite darkness that stretched in every direction. I cannot speak for all of humanity, she said. I am just one captain on one ship. But I can tell you what I believe. I believe we did not fight this battle for conquest. We did not come here for power. We came because innocent people were killed. We came because it was the right thing to do. We We, we, we. She turned away from the window. The galaxy has been watching us for 10,000 years. You have seen our worst moments, our wars, and our cruelty. But you have not seen everything. You have not seen our compassion, our creativity, our ability to change. We are not the same species we were 1,000 years ago. We are not the same species we were 100 years ago. We are always changing, always growing, always becoming something new. Chen took a deep breath. So, no. I do not think we will conquer the galaxy. But I also cannot promise we will be peaceful. What I can promise is this. We will always choose. We will always decide who we want to be. And right now, in this moment, we have chosen to be defenders. We have chosen to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. The council said nothing. The silence stretched across the stars. Then, finally, a new voice spoke. Older, wiser, heavy with the weight of millions of years. Perhaps we were wrong about you. Perhaps humanity is not our nightmare. Perhaps you are something else entirely. What would that be? Chen asked. Hope, the voice said. Terrifying, beautiful, impossible hope. Captain Chen ended the transmission. She looked around her damaged bridge, at her tired crew, at the stars beyond the windows. The war would continue. There would be more battles, more sacrifice, more death. But something had changed. The galaxy had seen what humanity could do, and for the first time in 10,000 years, they were not just afraid. They were curious. They were hopeful. They were watching to see what humanity would become. Chen smiled tiredly. All ships, she said, set course for the next Vorthax position. We have work to do. The human fleet moved forward. Into the darkness. Into the unknown. Into a future that no one could predict. Admiral Okonkwo watched from Earth as the ships disappeared into the stars. He was an old man. He had seen too much war. But for the first time in months, he felt something he had almost forgotten. Pride. Humanity had awakened. And the galaxy would never be the same.